Everybody, good to see you. Gosh, my shirt's all crooked. What the heck? Anyway, oh man, this has been one of those days. I actually had to take a anxiety pill before I came on here because it felt like my stomach was in my chest and my chest was in my throat because I was rushing around here. At 15 minutes till, I couldn't even find my notes, and this one is like, it's like fact stuff, so it's not even like I can wing it. Like sometimes I could probably wing it, maybe I'd forget what I was talking about, but when it's facts, I really need them in front of me so I don't mess them up, y'all. So I'm out of breath, but it'll be fine. I'll get back. I'll get it in a minute. Hi, Mischief Managed. Hi, Inappropriate Heifer. Evie, good to see all of you. It's been a long day, y'all. DJ Nico, it's good to see you. Meet me like a roadrunner. Janet from another planet. Yeah, it's been a while since you've been able to catch a live, so I'm glad to see you. Anyway, I do have one little update. I always do the little medical updates at the very beginning, y'all, because if not, I forget, and then I get 500 emails, which is so sweet. But anyway, we did get a surgery date for Mark, which will be November 1st. He goes for his pre-op, I think it's the 24th or 25th. I've wrote it down like 14 times today, and I can't remember when it is, but it's one of those days. And he goes for an EKG Monday. So I see my oncologist Monday. So Monday's going to be a busy day. So anyway, oh goodness, I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. So yeah, surgery November 1st, the day after Halloween. So and November 2nd is our anniversary, and I've laughed and said that he probably had them. My hair's lopsided again, y'all. I don't know what is wrong with my hair. It's real thin on this side. It is what it is, I guess. Anyway, I wish I could do this without looking at my face, is what I wish. Aw, thank you for your super sticker, Janet from another planet. That's so kind. Thank you. It will go towards living expenses, probably while he's off work, or chemo. One or the other. It's all the same, right? Living expenses, bills, all that. So thank you very much. Susan P., good to see you. Good to see you. I hadn't seen you in a few days, I don't think. But anyway, so yeah, our anniversary is the 2nd. And I said that he probably had them set that up that way so that he would get out of taking me for some kind of, cheese enchilada dinner. But then a friend of mine said, well, you can just Uber Eats it to the hospital. They'll just bring it straight to you. And I thought, well, that is a plan. So yeah, we might be eating some enchiladas on our anniversary after all, or he'll probably want fajitas or tamales. He loves tamales. Oh, your grandbaby's been sick. I'm sorry. Hope the grandbaby's feeling better. That's so scary when they're sick. And I worry about my grandkids all the time. I really, truly do. Yeah, Nico, I agree. I hope the grandbaby's better. So y'all, this is kind of a long one, so I'm going to jump in before I get in trouble. And then I'll check back with the chat in a little bit. Mischief Manages in the back office, so she's going to probably star some comments for me if her internet is working properly today. You know how the internet is, y'all. It rules the world, right? Doug, hello. Hi. Boy, you have really become a regular, and I am so excited about it. Yeah, it is so tough when grandbabies are sick. It really, really is. I just worry myself sick over it. But anyway, I'm going to get started, and then I promise I will pop back in with you guys. Yeah, she's in the boss office, Nico. She's in the boss office. Anyway, so those of you like myself who pretty much devour every bit of Scientology facts that we can come across, this live may mostly be stuff that you knew, or at least partially knew or something. But for those who have just kind of started learning about I thought it'd be a good idea to just go over some of their kind of, oddball things. And y'all, We could go a long time on this, but I don't think y'all want to sit here till midnight or after while I go over more and more and more, and we still wouldn't be done because they're just a little cuckoo. So anyway, so let's just assume that you just know the bare facts, right? You know that Scientology was created by a science fiction writer named L. Ron Hubbard, right? Let's pretend we know that. And let's pretend that we've heard that for all intents and purposes, he was nuts. Okay. Yeah. He made up stories about his life when actually his life was pretty cool anyway. He shouldn't have been, he should have just told the truth. Hey, totally Jersey, good to see you. Anyway, I have covered a lot of his made up stories in other videos, y'all, so I'm not going to go over those, although they're pretty wackadoodle, right? But this man was a liar, a fraud, and by many accounts, including the US military, he was crazy. Okay? Unfit to serve. He didn't need to be like in charge of people, all these things that the military themselves said about him that should have been a clear indicator of what was coming. But, I gotta move that over. There we go. This over here. Goodness. Okay, so today I'm going to cover a few facts that Scientology would probably rather that we didn't hear about. And they're odd. They are really an odd bunch, y'all. Ugh. I'm not talking about I don't, from other videos that I don't think that like the actual, normal Scientologist, like the Sea Org and all that, I don't think that I see that inappropriate ever. Uh, Anyway, I don't think that they're like stupid or crazy or whatever, but the powers that be and L. Ron Hubbard, yeah, cuckoo. So anyway, the thing is with Scientology, the upper people in there, they're not afraid to do crazy stuff. They just don't want us to talk about it. They just want to deny it. They want to do it, but then they're, oh no, what are you talking? You're crazy. We don't do that. So anyway, I've got 19-ish. Why I say ish is because I've got 19 points I'm going to make. But in them, there may be a little like A or B kind of situation going on there. So anyway, number one, y'all. I probably should have done like 19, 18, 17, 16. But no, I started with number one. So anyway, L. Ron Hubbard was under investigation in many countries. So he lived at sea on a ship to evade jurisdiction. Scientology was in so much hot water that Australia even banned it in 1965. Isn't that crazy? I mean, a lot of us knew it. But when you really think about the fact that he literally lived on that ship just to keep from getting his ass in trouble and being in jail, ugh, whatever. A lot of times I'm going to refer to him as LRH because I just get tired of saying L. Ron Hubbard, you know. So LRH based Scientology on his claim, y'all, that he had healed himself from World War II injuries. But that was BS. Like, he never had anything but minor injuries. I mean, I think he might have had malaria. But I mean, like, seriously, like, he had an ingrown toenail. I think I can't remember. There was like a couple little minor things that happens to us all the time, and we don't try to get medical, whatever. We don't try to go on any kind of disability for it. So anyway, but he sure did. He claimed he was blind, and he claimed that he was a cripple. His words, not mine. When he came out of the war, neither were true, not even close. He literally just made it all up, and there are records to prove that. Medical records and medical records from the military that prove that that's all just BS he fed them. So he could say, "Ooh, I cured myself. You got to believe what I'm talking about because I cured myself. Whatever. Okay, David Miscavige, y'all. For those that don't know, he's the current leader of the cult. And he rose to lead the Church of Scientology by capitalizing on LRH's death, y'all. If LRH was mentally ill, Miscavige is just evil. Like, he is just evil. As his own father said, he's ruthless. Can you imagine? If my dad said I was ruthless, I think I'd just like crawl in a hole somewhere. I don't know, y'all. That's what in the world? Okay. Oh, scared me for a minute. So the rumor is, right? Yeah, I'm going to tell a rumor. It's pretty publicized, but anyway. So the rumor is, and I didn't make it up. I'm just repeating it. That little Davy stole the leadership of the cult from Hubbard's two closest friends who he wanted to take his place. But Miscavige rose through the ranks and became Hubbard's advisor. He then announced Hubbard's death in 1986, and Hubbard's death was framed as an intentional decision by him to leave his body. They call it dropping the body, and to go into an even higher level of spiritual being. But actually, the old coot had a stroke, okay? And he was pumped up on opioids and other drugs that the church members are not allowed to use. And Miscavige just kind of slid into leadership. His official title is the chairman of the board. And on a lot of legal documents, he says he's not the leader. So I'd like to know if he's not, who is, right? Because we all know he is. Everybody knows he is. He even says he is. Until it's on a legal document. And then it's, oh, no, 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 no. Not me. I'm not the leader. Front. But according to Mike Render, just remember that name, those of you that are just learning about this stuff, that he was actually a total asshole. Still is, okay? He now acts like he's a saint. This man, he would need his own video for me to explain everything. So that's for later, okay? But just remember the name. I know that most of y'all know, but I'm talking about new people. Render actually said that little Davy likes to refer to himself as the Pope of Scientology. I'd say he's more of the poop of Scientology. Number 4, Miscavige allegedly took the responsibility of finishing the church's course curriculum, or the OT chart, which is operating theme. We'll go into all the terms on a video later because there's I really seriously want to do a video that just lists what they call everything. But it probably would be like 10 videos. But at least hit on some of the normal, like the ones that we hear about all the time, right? Anyway. But anyway, supposedly little Davy finished this because Hubbard couldn't do it before he dropped his body. Which if it was an intentional dropping of the body, why didn't he finish his shit before he dropped the body? Does that even make sense? No. But that's what they said, was that it was an intentional dropping of the body. Well, I'm not going to drop my body intentionally, but if I was going to quit a job, let's say, I would probably try to get my shit done before I just quit or before I went on vacation or something. Because apparently he's not quit, y'all. He's just off on vacation, just, off working somewhere else. Somewhere way more amazing than Earth. Hmm. So, Tom DeVote, who left the Church of Scientology in 2005 after 28 years working closely with Miscavige. His job was to work with city authorities for Clearwater, Florida. He said he was often told to carry out crazy requests from the leader. The leader that says he's not the leader, that, Miscavige little runt. Ugh. He said that his doubts about the church started when Miscavige claimed to have Hubbard's various writings and that he was going to finish that OT chart. Considering, y'all, yeah, this is wrong on so many levels but the biggest being that to this day, members read and memorize the words of L. Ron Hubbard. Nobody is allowed to change a word that he says. Yes, they update the books, but that's usually for a spelling error or some little something that they can change just enough without changing his words, just like a spelling error or something, or punctuation, or something like that, so that they can then print new books and make all these Scientologists buy the new books or start their courses over because they got to go back. Even though they've reached the highest levels, some of them have to go back because things got changed. I'm using the noodle. But yeah, they can't change a single word. So how is Miscavige actually writing any kind of additional levels and then claim it to be LRH's work? And where are those? We've not seen them, right? We've not seen them, so he's a real slow writer. Because the 86, Dave, this is 2024. You slow, bud, but you could at least get one or two of those levels, right? You'd think. Number 5, tiny little David Miscavige has little man syndrome, y'all. He is reported to regularly beat up his staff, who, of course, can't defend themselves, much less fight back. He also encourages violence among other church members. It's just like this violent, crazy situation. Former Scientologist and now author of Counterfeit Dreams, Jeff Hawkins, said one time Miscavige got so mad at him in a meeting about an infomercial, sorry, that Hawkins wrote, that he accused him of law or of crimes against the church. Dramatic much? Then physically assaulted him, scratching him up and ripping his shirt completely off. Hawkins said he was assaulted on at least 5 different occasions, maybe more, by Miscavige. And by the way, nobody dared to step in on any of these attacks on anybody or speak up. They all remain just seated and silent because they know if they say anything, they're next. And maybe not just taking a beating, you might end up in the hole or something, We'll talk about that later too. DeVote said that Miscavige assaulted him when he couldn't get city permits to destroy the sidewalks that go around the Clearwater headquarters. He wanted that done to dissuade any kind of protesters from just standing around. Oh, I bet he'd love to do that still, wouldn't he? With the protest, if he thought the protesters was bad back then, imagine now. Oh boy. Miscavige said, or Miscavige is said to maintain extreme levels of security at the Church of Scientology Hemet, California headquarters to keep people out and members in. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Davy's own father, Ron, author of Ruthless, y'all. It's a good book. Read it. Said he and others were monitored around the clock. He described locks on the doors from the outside so that they couldn't get out on many of the rooms, y'all. Spikes that were crazy sharp on top of the iron fences, and the spikes went both inwards and outwards so that it would deter anybody coming in or going out. So, he also talked about being chaperoned by other members everywhere he went, whether it was on site or if he was supposed to go off site and do something else. Phone calls were monitored and eavesdropping was done on all conversations. Somebody was listening. If you're talking to somebody, somebody's listening. So, but Miscavige, I think this is funny, y'all. This might be one of the funnier things I've heard. Miscavige screwed up royally, y'all, when he gave his father a Kindle so he could read books. But he didn't realize that it was connected to the internet. Now, how did he think those books are going to get on there? Oh. And it didn't take Ron long to figure out that he could get on the internet, and he started researching the Church of Scientology. And he says that he found pretty much next to zero of anything good. It was all bad. And in 2011, after 42 years as a member, having actually brought little Davy into the cult, Ron left after 6 months of he and his wife planning their escape. And I mean escape, y'all. Hey, Gary, good to see you. Of course, his children and grandchildren then disconnected from him and his wife, which is, they don't have a disconnection policy, but it's funny that everybody does it. They're forced to do it, but they don't have that policy. Number 7, Miscavige allegedly created a grueling detention center called the Hole. This was in the early 2000s in Hemet, California. According to Mike Render, remember him? It was a detention center for high-ranking members who displeased Miscavige. Render said that you could be put in the hole for answering a question wrong or just not knowing the answer, for a facial expression, for falling asleep after having worked, 48 or more hours straight without any sleep. Render said that as many as 100 people were held in the hole, having to eat slop with security bars on the windows. Guards were 24/7, and that members would even beat each other up, And Render should know, because Render was actually put in the hole. And then what's weird, y'all, it's not in my notes, but a little sidebar. He would put Render in the hole and keep him there for months and months and months and months, and then drag his ass out of the hole, make him take a shower, get on a nice suit, and go and talk about how great Scientology was, or go handle somebody that ran away or whatever. So, weird. Treatment outside the hole isn't great either, though, y'all. Members often have to clean floors or toilets with a toothbrush. And to add insult to injury, they have people stand around and watch them, so, to make sure they do it right and they don't miss a spot. Number 8. Let's not forget the bridge to total freedom. Y'all, it's a ladder. It is not a bridge. It's a ladder or a pyramid, And the only place it leads is to bankruptcy. And then back down again, where you have to start over because they've changed something. The bridge was created by LRH, and it's a series of steps or courses, which means a bunch of books that you have to purchase, and a lot of time you have to spend in auditing, which we'll also get to. This stuff is crazy expensive to get there, to take to each level. And it takes years to complete. One level can take 10 years. And right now there's 8 of them. I mean, they don't all take 10 years, but they can. I mean, unless you're Tom Cruise, you know, Tom Cruise made it up pretty fast. And all of this is done in order to reach ultimate spiritual enlightenment. Ugh. When you get to the top, which is OT8, you're said to be able to use your mind to do powerful things, like move things around, cure cancer in yourself. Apparently, it can't prevent stroke because LRH died of a stroke. If not, his old ass would still be here, 200 years old, but I mean, not really, but Number 9, reaching the top of the bridge is not a one and done, y'all. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. You'd think it was, right? You've done all this work, you've taken all these courses, you've done all this auditing, you've put up with all this bullshit, and you get to OT8. And what happens? Let me tell you. According to Mary Kahn, a devout Scientologist for 40 years, she completed all the courses required. But the books and the courses are often updated. And then imagine, okay, so she said to imagine that you're an engineer, okay, and that you completed all your years of college and all of that, and you've had your job for 10 years and you're, set in your career, everything's going great. And then your college calls up, right? Says, "Hey, yeah, we made some changes to the course and what we taught you. I know it's been working for 10 years, but there's a little bit of an issue with it. And so you got to come back to college, start over at the beginning, go back for all those years, and then start your career over with." That's what it's like. Scientologists, oh, and at your own expense, of course. They're not going to help you. They're a mistake, but they're not going to help you. Not one little bit. Scientologists are required to purchase every book or anything that LRH ever wrote, which costs thousands of dollars. And no Amazon or eBay, y'all. You got to purchase them from the church, from one of the orgs. You can't go, bargain shopping. And then when you buy the book, he'll just update it. And then you got to go buy it again. And it literally might be a line or a word here or there. Like nothing that actually changes the content. And this happens multiple times, not just once. They'll do it over and over and over for each book. I mean, it's crazy. Number 10. Yes, y'all. There are low price introductory courses that lure people in. But guess what? They don't count towards anything. Not even OT1. They don't count towards nothing. You're just spending money for nothing. You're not getting anything out of it. These $35 throwaway courses, y'all, just serve to indoctrinate you. And you're required to buy them. You can't just not. You're required to buy the books and take the courses. You can't just say, "Well, I'll wait till we get to something that's going to, earn me something." No, you got to do it from there up. And in those courses and books, they're ultimately just feeding you lies about how great the Church of Scientology is. and sucker you into mentally and financially being so indoctrinated into the church that you won't leave. And it never ends. Never ends. Plus, if you happen to be from another country, they'll take your passport. And so good luck leaving, even if you said, this is, not for me. By the way, you also have to attend auditing. Basically, they pretend it's therapy. That's what they kind of act like it is. And it costs like $800 an hour. And it takes several hours, like several hours a day, multiple, 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 multiple times until you have spent thousands of dollars on this. And you have to have it anytime they say you do. So it's not just you think, I need to go see a therapist. I need to go have some auditing. No. It's like, you need to go to auditing. You need to go to auditing. You need to go. It's willy nilly. It's just whatever they want. I mean, you can have like 40 years of auditing at $800 an hour. And the kicker of this is, y'all, if you didn't know, which a lot of us know, but again, remember, we're talking to people that might not know. They hook you up to what they call an e-meter that emits a little electrical current that you can't even feel, thank God. You have to hold these two things that look like cans, one in each hand, right? And you have to answer questions for hours. Questions like, I don't know, have you ever stolen a pencil? You say no. They say, okay, thank you. Have you ever stolen a pencil? You say no. Okay, thank you. Have you ever stolen a pencil? This is just an example. It could be, God only knows what they're asking you. But that's what happens. That's why it takes hours, because they ask the same question over and over and over and over till the little needle on the thing moves or be still or something. I don't even remember, but the little needle has to do something, has to float. That's what they call it, float. So it must mean it has to kind of like be like, ooh, instead of whoop, whoop. Mine would be like all over the damn place, because I'd be telling them shit that I'd be like, yeah, I stole a pencil and a pen and an eraser and a car and I don't know, a house and a boat. And I mean, I'd be in so much trouble. Because I mean, I would just be like, "Well, if I'm going to be in auditing and have to pay for all this money, I'm going to make them work for it." Ugh. There are also security checks done through auditing that you have to pay for. These are done when for some reason they think you've done something wrong, which they can just dream it up. They don't have to have any proof. Something against the church, or let's be honest, to find out about your sex life. That's big. They want to know if you're having sex. With who? Ugh. They want to know any of your kinks. You got some kinks? We want to know about it. I'd be like, this is my kinks. I got some kinky ass hair. That's what my kinks are. But they want to know all this stuff so that they can then use it against you if you ever try to leave the church or do anything that they don't like, you know? And did I mention? I don't think I mentioned that all the audits and the sec checking, which I always at first thought it was called sex checking. It's sec as in security. But anyway, but all those are recorded and filmed. What freaking therapist does that? Weird. A lot of times the Scientologist that's being audited will just, to end the torturous hours and hours, I mean, sometimes it's like 12 hours straight of auditing, and sometimes they'll just make up stories. Sometimes, they just flat out lie. They'll make up stories about past lives, about crimes they did, or sins they did, or just anything. Whatever, just to try to get that damn needle to float so they can get out of there. And it just grosses me out that all the therapy rooms are equipped with both cameras and listening devices. In fact, little Davy of the fake space navy, y'all, was said to have listened and watched all of Tom Cruise's auditing sessions. Can you? Ugh. I don't want to listen to anybody. I don't even want to listen to mine. I don't want to listen to it. Ugh. Number 11, to actually finish the bridge, you have to live on the ship called the Freewinds for as long as the church says that you have to live there. Khan claimed that she endured hours of sea checks and was often sent back to her room crying. Every second on that ship was hell, she said. Number 12, if you actually leave, right? I mean, let's be honest, if you actually escape, the church will use extreme actions against you just for funsies. They call it fair game, but it's nowhere near fair, and it's certainly not a game. The theory is that it's okay for the cult to do anything to any enemy or critic of the church, which you would be for blowing, which is what they call escaping. And so am I. Like, I'm a critic of the church because I clearly, openly speak out about the Church of Scientology's bullshit pretty much every day. Well, I do every day to someone, but pretty much every day on YouTube. So, yeah, even though I was never in the cult, I'm sure they would hate my guts, and it's mutual. So, they will stalk you, dig up dirt, go through your trash, vilify you. They'll try to. Hold on, my cards are sticking together. Sorry. They will try to get you fired, right? They'll tell your boss all kinds of crazy, crazy stories. Tell your family and friends crazy stories. They'll try to frame you for crimes. They'll pay thousands of dollars to get a private detective to follow and harass someone who likely probably did very little to piss them off. I mean, they could do it for me. They'd be bored as shit because I don't leave the house very often. But, they could sit down at the end of my driveway, which is about 1,500 feet from my house. And my dad would probably go down there with a shotgun and blow their tires out or something. But, they can try if they want to. Hmm. Number 12, the church doesn't give a rat's ass about children or their relationships with parents or other family members. They don't care about them. Since children are literally seen as adults in small bodies because of their belief in reincarnation, children are required to do all the things adults do, even as young as 6 years old. A child's parents are just their parents right now, right? They will have thousands of parents. So why get attached to these parents, and why would the parents get attached to their newborn babies? You've had thousands of newborn babies in your life, and you'll have thousands more. So why are you so attached to this one? Let the church have them, right? That's the crap they come up with. In my opinion only, y'all, I believe that policy is why child sexual assault is so prevalent in the Church of Scientology. They aren't children to them. They're adults. They just happen to be in small bodies. doing the same courses, the same jobs. You could even be a boss, 10 or 12, be a boss over grown adults. I think that that's a lot of why stuff happens is because they're not seen as children. Yeah, a 12-year-old could be the boss over multiple adults because they're not regarded as children. They never are, even from birth. Number 15, or no, number 13. Yeah, number 13, sorry. There are at least 2 mansions in California that are maintained, staffed, and stocked with food and even cigarettes in the event that LRH jumped into a baby body, finally aged to a point that he knows who he was, and comes back and boots Miscavige to the curb. Might be fun. Or tosses him overboard, which has also happened in port, from the free winds, but, more of that on another time. Yep, he smokes cool cigarettes, Tom McCann sandals by the shower door, and Louis L'Amour novels on his bedside. Oh, they also have fully stocked offices in all the orgs, which are churches, what they call churches, all ready for him to refill his seat as the lead of the church. 14. Recruiting celebrities is one of their highest missions. Save the planet? Nope. Recruit more celebrities. No matter how famous or not they are. Just recruit them. And then this church, even if you're not very famous, the church will recruit or will promote the crap out of you. At least for a little while. They'll try to make you into a celebrity even if you're really not, But they consider you a walking success story of how Scientology works, said Amy Scobie, a former high-ranking Scientologist or Scientology executive. Number 15. Scientology allegedly surrounded Tom Cruise with Scientologists to minimize his exposure to outside influences. Scobie, who said her main job was to work with Cruise, also known as handle someone, said she hired everyone from house managers, cooks, maids, all who were Scientologists. She said the church considers Cruise their messiah. Is that gross? He is single-handedly changing the world, y'all. The whole freaking planet. But I wonder, if he's changing the whole planet, why can't he change his wives and girlfriends or his daughters? It doesn't seem like he's very good at it, but they sure think he is. Number 16, a high-level Scientologist called the Sea Org, or a high level of Scientology called the Sea Org, I'll get it right in a minute, allegedly, got something in my eye, recruited, aka trafficked, in many cases, children between the ages of 12 and 18. And that still goes on, even though some people say no. They aren't above lying to parents to get kids to join. They have to have parental permission for you to join as a minor. But Scobie said that they lied to her father, who wasn't a Scientologist, saying that she was going to Europe to model. She said that parents sign over their parental rights all the time to the church. So the church then becomes the parent. Once you join the Sea Org, remember, sometimes at age 12, you sign a billion-year contract. They are expected to remain a lifelong member or face harsh punishments. But life in the Sea Org sucks. Triple high bunk beds, 12 to a room, working 100 hours a week for literally like $47. Sometimes not even that. No days off, ever. It doesn't matter If you're 12 or 80, it's the same conditions, the same workload, the same requirements. No human should be treated like this elite group is treated. I don't think they know what the word elite means. They need to word check it. Number 17, we're getting close, y'all. Scientologists do not believe in mental illness. They deny mental illness or afflictions exist. And they claim that you can cure your psychosomatic, made up issues with their technology. They will even get in the way of people taking medications or even literally prevent them from getting medications they need or getting any kind of mental health treatments. And this, in several cases, has caused suicides or murders. Scientology is mentally abusive because they are taught that they are responsible for everything that happens to them that's bad. If something bad happens to you, like you get raped, you pulled it in, you caused it. If you break your leg, you caused it. If you get in a car wreck, you caused it. If you get the flu, you caused it. Whatever it is, you caused it, right? But anything good that happens, guess who that is for? Scientology. Their tech worked. Kind of sounds like my ex-husband. Number 18. Scientologists are legally, in their laws, y'all, not in our laws, but legally in their laws, banned from seeking legal justice against another member, even in cases of abuse. Remember the whole Danny Matheson trial? The reason that it took so long, y'all, was because those women were Scientologists and they went through the steps that they were supposed to go through with the church instead of going through regular authorities, right? So, and guess what happened when they did that? They were the ones that got in trouble because you pulled it in, right? Plus, let's face it, Danny Masterson was a celebrity. So even if they were maybe going to get on to somebody else, but even if they were, they're not going to get on to a celebrity. They had to wait until they literally escaped the cult before they could file charges and prosecute Matheson. So that's why it took so long, y'all. It wasn't that they sat back on their ass and like, 20 years later said, "Oh, you know what? I think he raped me." No. They knew he did. They were fighting him for all those years with the Church of Scientology not doing a damn thing. And they finally got away and got a hold of the actual authorities. That's how that happened. So all these, you know, comedians and crap on TV need to shut the hell up because that's not what happened. Or what about the now former member, Miriam, who was sexually abused by her father at the age of 3? And it started then, it didn't end then. When her abuse got out, when, I think her mother, I don't know, they told anyway, the church moved her and her father to another country where no one knew about the abuse. And that happens a lot. It wasn't just her, it happens a lot. And when she finally got out of the cult and tried to prosecute her father, who actually confessed to it, it's on, I think, a recording or something, I don't know, but he's confessed to it, the statute of limitations was up. That's another thing that we need to talk to Render about, because he had a hand in all this crap. And number 19, y'all. Scientology believes that homosexuality is a perversion. Mhm. There's a tone scale in the Church of Scientology, which is like a chart of human evaluation. A 1.1 is the lowest that you can go on the scale. It's even below murder. Yeah. Ugh. It's below sexual predators. I mean, you name it, it's below it because it is the lowest of the low, okay? It's crazy because gay people are treated so poorly in the church that they need a lot of help, right? They need a lot of help, therapy, just physical help, mental help. I mean, they're treated like dung, but they are also the least likely to get help. The church believes they're not worth helping, and that's according to LRH. It just floors me that a 1.1 on the tone scale is for gay people. The only way off the 1.1 scale is to have the gay audited out of you. Much like the Christian's conversion therapy. It doesn't work. If the person doesn't have a total mental breakdown or unalive themselves, or just lie and say, okay, I'm straight now, the torture just keeps continuing until they hopefully escape alive. And it doesn't always happen that way. Thank God we have some second gens who are in fact gay who have gotten out. We have Serge, we have Liz Ferris, we have Nora. I'm sure there's more. My brain's just not working right now, but we have several that luckily they've escaped. And they're still going through years and years and years and years of therapy. I know that was kind of heavy, a lot of it, especially the whole homosexual thing and the children, you know. But if one person hears it and doesn't join this damn cult, it's worth the anxiety medicine that I had to take before I started this and while I was researching it. If one person hears it and decides to become a vocal advocate against the cult, it's worth those anxiety medicines. So now I just want to talk to my chat. Y'all are always the high point of my day. Don't tell Mark that because he thinks he's the highlight of my day. But it's you. I love him, but there's more of you. I am always thrilled to see him, but you're still the highlight. So y'all, let's chat before I get in trouble, because I warned her that we'd probably go past an hour, but we're right at an hour, so she's not going to let me talk for long. So I'm going to go up here and see if I can see where we stopped earlier and pick up with especially some starred comments. Yeah, we were talking about the babies being sick, so. Doug says, Susie, you won me over. Well, good. I'm glad. I hope you stay. Totally Jersey says that late making dinner, evening all. Oh, dinner sounds good. Mark's going to we eat a lot of breakfast for dinner, y'all, because that's his specialty. But I think we're going to start getting Hello Fresh again so that I can get those 30-minute meals and hopefully cook when he's recuperating for surgery because somebody gonna have to cook, and it's gonna probably be me. I've gotten out of it for a long time, so I do cook, but just not every night. So, abso-fucking-lutely bonkers, says inappropriate heifer. Yeah, LRH probably did have a lot of STDs. A lot of STDs and no standards, says Nico. Carol Barnhart, good to see you. Marilee, so good to see you. Aw, had to wait for one of the grands to come home. Well, that happens. Yeah. Doug says, guys, he is gross. But hey, I guess cult leader equals sexual encounters with the brainwashed. Absolutely. Which is sick. Gary Mackey, I love you. Friday night watching SPTV, watching Susie first. I'm glad, and I'm so glad to see you here. I see a lot of y'all talking to each other. They dropped the hole, or they dropped the body in a 6-foot hole. I think that most of the time the word just went out of my head. Damn it. The one where they burn the bodies. That one. They do that. Y'all, I'm telling you, chemo. There's no telling. Yeah, the pimp of Scientology. Yeah. Little Davy pimps out his slaves to Tommy Boy Crew, says Doug. Kind of feels that way, doesn't it? Oh, okay, y'all. Some of them I just have to like. You can read yourself. You guys. Let's just say to the ones that can't see the chat later on that they're talking about the benefits of a little blue pill, sort of. Evie's here. Dawn Gloves is lurking while working. Lurking while working. Sounds almost like a Laura FM song. Hmm. Eileen Bradley's here. Conda's here. Oh, I have surgery October 31st. We can recoup together. I wish you were in Tulsa. And give me a different room to go to and sit sometimes instead of just with Mark, who'll probably be sleeping the whole time or watching some kind of. He wants me to put all this stuff on his iPad so that he can still watch things like Matlock and, you know, um, oh, Magnum PI and all that, you know. So I will definitely be sitting over there with my iPad or my laptop and my little earplugs. Well, I have actually thought about this, Gary. I propose that we stop using the word church when describing this outfit. Cult of Scientology seems more appropriate. I believe so too. And I used to do it all the time. And then someone told me that it might be offensive to cult members that were under the radar that were looking. But, I'm like, you know what? They need to face the facts. It's a freaking cult. DOA is a fraud. Says hello to everybody. Hello to you too. The Journey 2020. Hi, how are you? DJ says he sent him to London to handle the BBC journalist together with that Tommy guy from OSA. If you see Mike Rinder there, he looks like something the cat dragged. Yeah. Why didn't any of them fight back? If I was thrown in a hole, I'd go fighting and they would have to kill me or kick me out. Yeah, you'd think so, Doug, but they don't. They're so scared. They're indoctrinated. We're not indoctrinated. They are. That's the difference, which is just disgusting and scary. Joe McCoy's here. How are you doing? He says, talk to anybody down under lately or today. I know. I'm so sad that he's not here anymore. Can't wait till he comes back. I keep telling Mark, we're going to have to go to Australia. I hope you know that. We're going to have to go to Australia. He says, I thought you didn't want to go to Australia because everything there's out to kill you. And I said, well, I'll have a big, strong Australian to protect me. So, not that Mark was going to protect me. I was going to get Alan to do it. Yeah. Nico says, look at all the abusive relations. F. Scientology is the same on steroids. Yeah. Janet says most regular Sea Orgs didn't get far up the bridge or on it at all. They wanted money more than public, and they have their own members get their training. Yeah. Yeah, it's a type of Stockholm syndrome. It really is. Doug says it's a really messed up thing. I will never understand it, but I'm not one to buy into a cult. You'd be surprised. I've told stories about a friend of mine in high school that he was absolutely like the, star athlete, the best looking guy in school. He had a great family. He was hot, y'all. He was smart and all that. And he ended up in that cult, the Branch Davidian. Luckily, his family got him out before it all went down. But yeah, he was in that. And you wouldn't have thought that he would have been the type of person that would fall for any kind of cult. There would be no reason behind it. And I've never really sat down and talked to him and asked him how it happened. I can't imagine how it happened. I have sat for, years and tried to think of how in the hell did that happen. I just still don't know. Yeah. The Journey says that Sea Org members are just slaves. Yeah. I'm also doing one, I think it's tomorrow, y'all. It talks about slavery. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. I'm getting into some subjects, y'all. Nico says, Doug, it's a slippery slope. They are very devious. It's not like they tell people to join a cult. True. Yeah. Doug just can't get his head wrapped around. I don't think any of us really can. I mean, we hear it and we know it, but when it comes right down to it, I don't think that we can really wrap our heads around it. Marilee says, Doug, my mom was a pretty smart woman, but when she hit a really low point, she was dragged into a cult or drawn into a cult. Girl, we need to talk to you. I keep saying that, but we don't do it. I mean, I talk to you, but I want to talk to you on here. Yeah. Doug says, Marilee, I understand I started going to a church that I found out later was a cult, but I figured it out after about a month. Things just didn't jive. I was questioning everything. Thank God. Thank God. The Journey says, Susie, you have to also buy each model of the e-meter as well as each set of books. Yep. Even though that you've already passed that course already. Yep, that's true. Evie says, I got myself into situations I thought were one thing and they ended up being something else. Wasn't a cult, thank goodness, but still. Mischief Man says, okay, I've stolen lighters. I stole a Tootsie Roll. I think I was 2, maybe 3, 2. My mom found it and she made me take it back into the store, and the guy at the store wanted to just give it to me because I was so cute. Because I was a really cute baby. I won all kinds of photography things and modeling things as a child, as a baby and a child and a teen. But yeah, she wouldn't let him. She pulled him aside and said, "You gripe at her." So he did. And I didn't steal anything else. Not that I could think of. No. Marilee says my older sister taught me how to shoplift chocolate bars. Oh my god. That sounds like something I would do if I was going to steal something. Uh, Gary Mackey, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. If anybody got a membership from Gary, please say thank you. That was very, very sweet. Those memberships are helping me an awful lot. That, and if you will go to my community page and check out, we've got a little, can't remember what it's called, but a bunch of videos, a playlist, there you go, all together that you can play in the background overnight or when you're at work or whatever, and it will help me get my few hours up so I can make more money for when Mark's off work for like 3 or 4 months. So I don't expect for you all to buy memberships. I don't expect for you to super chat me or any of that. I appreciate it when you do. I mean, it's amazing. I'm not going to lie. Who would be like, I'm not going to lie to you. But honestly, all those view hours and ad revenue, they help too. They help a lot. I mean, it amounts to a few $100, like 3 or 4, maybe $500 a month, just in just that. And to me, that's a lot of money right now because I mean, yeah, this is a job, but not like a job job. But I'm kind of having to turn it into a little more of a job when Mark's off work. So, oh, there I am. Mischief, was that you? Sir Crepitus, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. You've probably been pretty busy, right? Just jumped in the car to go to an appointment. We'll watch the replay tonight. Praying for you and your husband, Susie. You handle things in such a classy way. Bless you. Oh, thank you. I'll be listening on my way. Gary Mackey. She's on a roll. Can we get an extension on time? Mischief, he's wanting an extension on time. She's going to allow it just a little bit. Doug, I'm glad you enjoy us so much, Susie. I do, y'all. This is not fake. Y'all, I'm serious. Janet from Another Planet says, I love your kind and gentle personality, Susie. I know that you can get spicy, but generally sweet. Yeah, I try. Yeah, I like that Bondi Beach. Bondi Beach. Gonna have to go there if I make it to Australia. I'm going to that beach, and I am going to get some pictures with some of those lifeguards. Doug says, I hated that, Susie. I was so embarrassed to go back and say I stole this. My dad didn't let anything slip by, and I'm glad he was on top of my robbing ways. Yeah, me too. It's embarrassing, but I'm glad that I learned my lesson. I might have been some kind of crazy thug. It might have been a whole different YouTube channel, y'all. Yeah, I might have been there with Tommy talking about my years in prison and on drugs if I had continued on the Tootsie Roll stealing path that I was headed down. So, anyway, I'm going to go. I thank you guys so much. I've reached the end of my chat for tonight. I love you guys. I'm going to go rest. My husband's going to make me some dinner because I'm hungry and I have to take my stupid chemo again. So I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a blessed night. Yeah, mischief. I see that. End of chat.